Welcome everyone to the stream, round number 2 at Bahrain in Tier 3. 16 drivers on the grid today. We're going to have more than that, considering some people joined in a little bit later. I am joined by F1 driver, Tier 3 head admin. How are you doing? Make sure your audio is included, by the way.
I'm fine. Yeah, it is. Don't worry. I'm alright.
Good.
Hoping to get a good race this evening.
Yeah, now, something that's actually very interesting that I find, the weather forecast. People might not believe it, but it's actually going to rain tomorrow sometime in Bahrain. Don't know if that'll affect any part of qualifying. Don't know if that'll affect any part of the race. We don't really know as of right now, but those few showers start from 10 a.m. Bahrain time to around 1 or 2 p.m. And the race is at 7 p.m. Bahrain time. So those showers could really change what happens. Goggles saw at the top right now in his Mercedes. Look at the gap between first, second, and third between last week's winner, Just Dylan Boy Chevy Giant on podium last week, and Goggles saw there in the Mercedes. A full-time drive for him now, so that's a good thing that he wants, and he gets to prove what he can do now. So, is there any particular favorite? Oh, yes, you are spectating quali. Yes, you would be in the race. I hope, at least, the game lets you. Lyrical Lewis spun it in front of the track of Goggles Saw. That was pretty dangerous. It could have resulted in some big crash. Luckily, it didn't. So, who do you have your eyes on here today, F1 driver?
I think, going off the previous race, it's got to be Just Dylan Boy, really, isn't it? Because he won last race, so, you know, hopefully he can carry it over.
For me right now, I think the clear favorite, Chevy Giant. He's only had this game for a week, and he came onto this game, Tier 3, and he's already at the front of the field. He's played other F1 games before, I'm pretty sure, so it definitely isn't the first time for him playing an F1 game, but now, with this, he has the chance to be able to, prove himself. Oh yeah, Thrasher, I know you're watching. You should be able to join the lobby, by the way. Now you should be able to, with it being this late in the session. Just make sure you press spectate, though. Yeah, because Thrasher, you wanted to join. No, Chevy Giant looks like the clear favorite in my opinion. I feel like with him, his clear pace showed last week that he had a chance at Dylan, and with this being one of Dylan's worst tracks, race pace, anything else, whatever there is, obviously could change the outcome of the race, and it could change on how things go. Dark Raptor's account is glitching, and it keeps getting online and offline. I'm not sure if he's in the session. Let me reinvite him. Yeah, F1 driver, can you reinvite Dark Raptor for me? GSR Raptor? For me? Because his account is glitching online, like every 2 seconds. Dark Raptor, GSR Raptor, it's really weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Aaron Ocon goes to P8. Oh yeah, by the way, if anyone does not know any of the penalties from last week, Dex fan Bones changed his gamer tag. He had an incident with Miss Ditto, who is in the lobby right now, and Aaron Ocon is gonna go for a spin into the barrier.
Whoa. Whoa.
Miss Ditto had an incident with Dex fan last week. A little bit of an over-aggressive drive from both of them as Chevy Giant back to the top with, look at how close that is, 5 1,000s for the pole position. Is this going to be the closest pole position so far in ARL? Because the closest pole position was exactly 6 7 1,000s. So right now that's 5 1,000s. Is it going to stay that way? Just Dylan Boy, he's up on his tug. Oh, excuse me. Holy cow. No, they're penalties from last week. Ditto, got a quali ban and also got 10 seconds, which moved her from P5 to P6, getting CJ Pants his best finish last week in ARL. Then you had, Bones basically getting a one-shot quali, but both drivers on severe warnings, just because we don't want any of this happening in the future. Dylan comes to the line 2/10 faster than Chevy Giant. He is on pole right now. Teammate GSR Raptor having a little bit of connection issues, and that's something we don't want to see. Hopefully that does get resolved before the race. He was having screen freezes. Lyrical Lou starts his lap. Davis 2K7 on his lap right now in Sector 2. big drop off all from the top 3 from Just Dylan Boy, Chevy Giant, Google Saw, all big dropouts from P3 on back. If you look at this, but it is very close between 4th through 9th.
You've got a very clear top 3, and what is Just Dylan Boy doing?
He's retired.
Oh. Yeah. Strange.
Well,
maybe you've run out of softs.
4 with Red Bull, yeah, probably. With Red Bull's 4 and 5, and then Toro Rosso's 6th and 8th. What were you gonna say? I see you are auto hosting the channel right now with this
I've
new
got
feature
it
of Mixer.
anyway.
Yep, it's good. No, continue what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I think there's a very close top 3 here, clearly. Top 3 are separated by a couple of tenths, but then you have 4th and 3rd separated by almost a second. It's 9 tenths. And then 4th down to, 9th? Extremely close, 2 tenths. So I think really we can definitely see some sort of front pack and then midfield going on here. So yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top.
Lyrical comes to the line. I think he's starting his lap now. GSR Raptor is going to go for a spin up the hill, and his whole front wing is...
Jeez.
It's gone. It's gone.
That corner is deadly. I will say.
And I think that corner has always been deadly for people in every F1 game that I've seen. You touch that curb, it's so slippery. This is one of the tracks where it's not curb dependent, kind of like France, but at the same time, you want to touch some of them, but you don't really want to get on them because they could be too slippery. But GSR Raptor starts his lap now. I think he at least wants to get in a lap. That's what his goal is going to be. At least get in a lap. Because if
with
you
no
don't
front
get... Yeah, if you'll at least beat Quinn Half, and you'll at least beat...
That's
at
an
least beat Hootie
invalidation.
Hick.
No way is that.
Well, I mean, it is regular corner cutting for
No,
Tier
it's
3,
not.
so it might not be. That might be why it is still good. Hootie Hicks, checkered flag for him. Aaron Ocon coming to the line, starting his lap.
Sessions out by a few seconds, probably.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. Matrix Dude JB Smooth is out of the session. Fire King up to P4. 15 viewers right now. Aaron Ocon, let's watch him. P9. One of your drivers, F1 driver. So,
Yeah.
Aaron Ocon, what does he need to do? He's kind of going toward the left side of that curb, using into the corner, using a great apex, and now he comes to the S's with 1/10 down, though. This he's out.
Whoa.
And
Bit
Lyric
nervous
Lou,
there.
checkered flag for him. Lewis, checkered flag for him. A Red Bull of CJ Pants is coming to the line now. Let's see what he does. He's at least up a 10th. Can he beat his teammate? Or at least get up to P4 to the line? Nothing. 32 and thousandths off.
This is a bendit, but Aaron Ocon's a
Aaron
10th and a half down.
Yeah, coming to the end of sector 2. Actually, 6/10 down. That pole position. Goggles saw completing the checker flag. Just Dylan Boy right now on pole. Aaron Ocon, the last one on the racetrack. How is this going to work for Aaron Ocon? Will he at least find some time in sector 3? Cutting a corner, what will happen? I mean, he might have to try to extend this right here. He does extend it. And he is trying to get ahead of Davis for P8. Or at least trying to get ahead of Bones for P7. And it's not going to work out.
Nope.
It's going to be P9 for Aaron Ocon.
Unfortunate, but hey ho, that's racing.
Well, qualifying is over. And let's go through the lineup here. I'm just going to screenshot all the stuff. Alright, so here is the current lineup for qualifying. Qualifying on mediums is JB Smooth back in 11th, but just Dylan Boy, Tier 3 winner, and first-time winner for Tier 3, back on pole position by a 10th. Google Saw, Chevy Giant, Fire King, Hissy round out the top 5 with Red Bull 5 and 6. And now then Bones back in 7th, who had a one-shot quali, and he didn't get a chance at trying to prove himself. Davis 8th and Aaron Ocon 9th. how are things going to go for the Bahrain Grand Prix? We are in the desert, and it can rain tomorrow for Tier 2. Do we see rain happening? F1 driver, do you think it's possible? At least for quali. At least for quali, I mean. Because the past...
At least for quali, yeah, but not the race, let's be honest.
I mean, you never know, I mean, how it could go.
I think quali probably, if the weather is a bit off, but I still think it's going to be dry all weekend. It's Bahrain, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, I mean, something interesting about these races, the sun does go down at 7, so it's just going to be kind of like this with dusk kind of stuff, not exactly at midnight. So that's something different with this. By the way, Matrix, you will get points counted for Ferrari with that because Ditto's in a Ferrari.
Here we go.
Because of that, yeah. So 17 drivers on the grid. And here we go.
The Haas hasn't gone away.
Yeah. It's Matrix now going. Yeah, Ditto is in Ferrari. Matrix is in Ferrari actually for the season. So points will count for Matrix in the Ferrari. So just want to clarify that up. Let's get the ones to watch going here because on this grid, in the race, what's going to happen? This is Bahrain. And there's a lot of tricky sections. Just like, for example, this turn 4, the S's, turn 10, that double left-hander. Who will miss the braking? Who will get the braking point just right? And going up that hill and turn 13, turn 12, around there. What will provide the great racing through there? Now, we have Just Dylan Boy, one of my favorites, on pole position. He's looked like a favorite for this, but my question is, can he keep the momentum up? Can he keep that big gap for the win he had with 4 seconds in France? Can he keep it up and maybe win today's race? We'll just have to find out. Chevy Giant P3, one of my favorites. I've seen him as a guy who just got the game and who needs maybe a little bit more practice to be just a little bit better. But as of right now, he looks great for this race, and he looks like a very good contender. And Mr. Ian Anna Bones, Deeks fan, I'm sorry, I always mispronounce that. Had a one-shot quality kind of penalty. He has to charge his way through the field. He's in the midfield, but he has to be smart about his moves, and he has to know what he's doing in order to get this race done the right way and be on the podium. So, F1 driver, who are your 3 other drivers? Make sure they are different drivers and not the same drivers.
That's going to be a difficult one. Yeah, Gogolsaw, I think definitely starting P2 on the grid. He's got a good position on the inside line, I believe. So, yeah, if he gets a good start, he can jump Dylan off the start. Who else? I'm not too sure. It's a bit difficult.
Well, let's try to choose one more at least quickly, because we have barely any time left. Try to choose one quickly.
Fire King as well, maybe, but probably not. Maybe CJ Pants. He's definitely in a good position. He's in the middle of the pack. If he can capitalise on the mistakes at the front, then he can definitely gain some position.
Well, the 5 red lights are upon us here in Bahrain. It's the desert. It's desert time. The night time. It's the right time. And here we go. We are lights out and away we go. Cars trying to get off the line very well. The Racing Point slipstreaming the Red Bull, but Just Dylan Boy has got a great lead with Chevy Giant in that far back, getting his slipstream, but 3 wide from some cars going into turn 1. All gaggle here. Fire King gets out of CJ Pants. They're side by side. And there's a car spun around somewhere. No, they're not. Actually, that was a car just sideways. I apologize. Ditto getting through here with Davis, trying to go down the inside. Lyricaloo making contact. They get their way through cleanly, but the front of the field, JB Smooth, is right in the back of Fire King. CJ Pants trying to take advantage, and Lyricaloo is out. Lyricaloo already out of the race. Fire King trying to go around the outside of CJ Pants, with Fire King already having damage in this race. So, is Fire King going to be able to get that damage, and he's going to be able to get that, well, not get that damage, but get the damage to the point where he's able to keep a good run, and there's contact in the back between a Red Bull and a Ferrari. Hissy falling down the order, but for the race lead, Chevy Giant right behind Just Dylan Boy, and these guys might be trading for the race lead pretty soon. Everyone's made it up the hill safely so far. Renault going really off just a Raptor. He's actually the one who's off the Matrix into a wall. Was that contact with Ditto, because that was who he was near. Now, side by side in the pit straight for this race lead. Chevy Giant down the inside. Just Dylan Boy leads that first lap, and Chevy Giant is side by side for the race lead. Will Goggle Saw try to take advantage? No, he will not. Bones is up to P4, and a great start for him. One of the favorites into this race. Now, side by side, Dylan Boy goes off the racetrack. He's going to lose a lot of time from that. Chevy Giant gaining and gaining and gaining. Dylan trying to protect that inside line. Chevy Giant to the outside now. Goggle Saw trying to take advantage of this while two cars are under a blanket here with this Goggle Saw trying to take advantage of a guy who just came into the league this week. Well, this past week, actually. It was the end of Friday. Let's clarify that. But Bones is also behind this 3-car battle, so it's a 4-car train for the race lead. We got some late breakers into the turn 10. Heavy braking zone. No DRS just yet. Whoa, Chevy Giant going out really wide. Into turn 11. Dylan Boy is coming up the hill now. There's a yellow flag. CJ Pants has been spun round. Yellow flag still somewhere. Green flag back in the air though. Now we can get back to overtaking. Yellow flag again, that's a Red Bull, and that is CJ Pants, his teammate. So Red Bull not off to a good start after leading the constructors after the first race. So I just want to make sure you guys keep continuing with us. Singapore is the next race next week, so we're gonna have to see what goes on. Chevy Giant is now gaining on just Dylan Boy for the race lead. Quinn Houff taking that fastest lap in the Williams. So Chevy Giant right behind just Dylan Boy and heading to turn 4. There's the DRS straight they have, and they're gonna try to make a move and try to do all they can to get by him, and Dylan trying to keep him out of the slipstream. Now Chevy Giant to the outside, trying for the switchback. Goggle Saw's gonna be just right there. It's tough because Chevy Giant has to put his move right, and he has to put his foot right on the gas. Bones is right behind these guys, waiting for a challenge, waiting for a move, waiting for something to happen.
Whoa,
because watch this, Dylan Boy is sideways, and now Chevy Giant trying to take advantage of that race lead into turn 10, the double left-hander. Dylan goes off track. Yellow flag, and it is Matrix again. Well, the battle for the race lead still continues. Chevy Giant and Dylan Boy still wheel to wheel. And Chevy Giant is through. But is he clear? Is he going to get the advantage off the exit? Dylan Boy charging right back at it. Down the inside. They're side by side. Chevy Giant getting the traction off. But Goggle Saw, this is his chance to capitalize on this mistake of them two battling right now. Bones, he is also gaining on this as JB Smooth passes Fire King for P5. Fire King coming back right back at it though. Side by side. And Bones is actually coming into the pits already. Well, for the race lead, just Dylan Boy coming right back at it. Chevy Giant and him still wheel to wheel into turn 1. Chevy Giant going to be able to get the DRS into turn 4 now. Is this going to be his advantage to make the move at the right time? And will he keep the race lead this time? He's trying on Dylan Boy to the left side. Lap 4 out of 14 is the softs starting to die out. And yeah, that is right. F1 driver said invite him back. I will invite him back right now because he's having connection or something, an issue of something. Oops. Well, it meant to invite F1 driver, and I did, so that's good. Fire King is still close to JB Smooth there for P4. F1 driver's actually left the session. So, pitting early is Bones. How will this turn out for him? The good thing is he's ahead of rival Ditto. Now he's stuck behind Matrix. That's the bad thing right here. Chevy Giant taking advantage of this with the race lead. Now, does Chevy Giant or Dylan Boy or even Goggle, what do they do here? Who out of this front pack chooses to pit first? We're going to see right now. F1 driver joined us back. Chevy Giant is not coming in, but Goggle, all stay out. This is really early. Fire King, is he going to react to Bones? He does. He's coming in. clean pit stop from Fire King, but battle for the race lead right now between Dylan Boy Goggle and Chevy Giant. Quinn Half and Aaron Ocon and Florian Fully also pit from this race lead, but DRS here on Google Goggle saw on Chevy Giant with Dylan Boy. We're trying for the race lead on what they need to do to be able to get Chevy Giant, but those softs are starting to wear out. I'm going to give you an invite back to the session. He's muted for me. I don't know why. He's right back to the session, F1 driver. Alright. Yeah. So, lap 5 out of 14. Already 16 viewers. Pretty good. But Matrix does get ahead of Bones still in this position for the lead of what would be the lead, or just lead out of the train that they had. But Bones does get by Matrix there for position. Now, this is Chevy Giant and Goggle Saw and just Dylan's Boy's chance to pit. Bones has the chance to win. Now, I've got to say, F1 driver, is this going to be a good comeback? Because remember, Bones had the issue last week with the retaliation stuff, with that stuff with Ditto. Coming back from a penalty, just one-shot quali. Do you think he's going to be able to come back and win this race? As we do see Chevy Giant and Dylan Boy pitting as Chevy Giant speeds.
Speed in the pit lane during the race, it can basically cost you loads of positions. I think if you learn from your mistakes with the retaliation stuff and stuff like that, I think you can definitely come back up the order if you definitely put the effort in and try and push yourself forward.
Chevy Giant and just Dylan Boy coming out of the pits. Was it too early for Bones, or did he use enough of that ERS? That's a good question that I kind of ask a lot of myself. Is this a good strategy from you? Is this what does this do? I was actually practicing with Bones before this race. Some people saw me in the lobby. Now Quinn Half and Aaron Ocon try to go wheel to wheel. Quinn Half with the DRS here into turn 4. Quinn Half is ahead, but Florian Fully has made contact with Aaron Ocon. Those two do get a little bit sideways, but they keep it clean, and they're luckily able to not spin around, and only a half spin there for Florian Fully. Alright, so at this point, Goggle Saw needs to pit. That's as simple as that, because the gap between Chevy Giant, Dylan, and them is 23 seconds. Dylan needs to get right back in DRS if he wants a chance at this race win. There's halfway to go in this race already, kind of like a tier 2 race where it's this mount for kind of, I want to say, this mount. Oh, as we see Matrix going to a wall.
That's damn close.
But Goggle Saw is in the pits. Yeah. We've seen before what this could do, but Dylan needs to get back in DRS if he wants to have a chance at this race win. But like I said, like a tier 2 race where it's short and you don't have much time to gain possessions. Raptor still staying out, but gonna battle Chevy Giant here for P3, and now he might help his teammate. This is what's gonna be the factor. Now coming out of the pits is Goggle Saw down the pit straight into turn 1. Chevy Giant overdrives the car and overdrives turn 1.
Goggle Saw.
This is his chance. Look at just Dylan Boy trying to get through this Raptor, going off the track and spinning.
That's done. That's gonna cause something.
Dylan into the turn, side by side.
Don't do a Vettel, please. Thank you.
Oh, but they're side by side in the S's. Will they be able to get a good exit? And will they be able to
can dive
catch
it here.
Chevy?
Yep,
Yeah, you
thought so.
Trying right there. Contact. They do touch. And they are away cleanly from Dylan, getting by Goggle Saw. That's for a position. Bones might be on a run for a podium if anything happens to Goggle or any of the other drivers. As F1 driver, you do have a little bit of static in your mic.
Yeah, on me too.
Just wanted to let you know. All right, cool. Just wanted to let you know. We're halfway almost to this race. JB Smooth on those mediums, leading the race, doing the same strategy he tried in France, but was wrecked out at the end of the race. Now, Dylan Boy is within DRS of Chevy Giant. Chevy Giant with that better ERS, and that's something that Chevy Giant might use to his advantage here if he sees Dylan catch within DRS.
Yeah, I think if he stays within the DRS, then he should be fine. But I think really. This game is all about
Chevy
staying in
Giant.
DRS. Whoa.
Really trying to make sure he does not get that slipstream because he knows Dylan has DRS. Because of this 1 second gap, this is what makes the racing interesting. The DRS stat is enabled. Now into turn 1, he misses his brakes. He misses the corner. And now, will that cost him anything for the future? Matrix pits now. So yet to pit is GSR Raptor and JB Smooth. Won't let me press on this because this controller is stupid. Alright, there we go. That's better. It wasn't letting me pressing on the onboard camera. I apologize. Dylan Boy is still within DRS there, but he's just not close enough to Chevy Giant. Remember, Chevy Giant actually picked up that 5 second that he had for the speeding in the pit lane. So that real battle for the win right now is with just Dylan Boy and Goggle Saw. Goggle Saw actually has a 5 second time penalty too. Oh, Dylan's in a great position. So right now, Bones might be able to get P2 right now based off of this. He might be on the podium by the end of this race. Who knows? This might see what we could do. Up the hill into turn 14 and now heading, no, actually turn 13, I apologize, heading to 14 and 15. Goggle Saw is close to Dylan to be able to pressure him and maybe help Bones get in the situation. It's between Goggle Saw and Chevy Giant for probably P3 right now, but Bones needs to stay within that 5 second gap of these guys if he wants to be able to have P2. And now, battle between Goggle Saw, who takes the fastest lap over just Dylan Boy, and now into turn 1, DRS enabled, ERS very low.
Whoa. Very close.
Bones with this battling, he needs to save ERS to be able to maybe gain on him, and maybe in sector 2 he just needs to save the ERS. If he uses it in sector 1 and sector 3, he should be able to catch the front 3 and maybe be able to stay within that 5 second gap that he needs. He's currently within 4.3 seconds. He needs to gain a lot more and hope for any mistakes to happen. He can't just have anything just really dumb or any stupid mistakes happening. Aaron Ocon and Ditto are sideways for P7. Oh boy. Remember, Ditto was under severe warning after what happened the last time out in France with the issues Ditto had with Dexfan in the defending of position and what happened there. That hopefully is not going to happen again. As right now, it's been clean from Ditto and everyone else in the field. As we've seen clean racing so far, not really many issues we've seen with the battles. But for this race lead, this is really great seeing the battles go on and on and on. But Dylan Boy is not within DRS, and that's his issue, as Chevy Giant actually has that ERS turned all the way up, which I think that's what he needs right now to pull away from Dylan, to not be able to get him in DRS just in case that 5 second or anything does get appealed, just in case he wasn't actually speeding in the pit lane. Bones within 4.4, but is close enough to Goggle Saw. So that's going to be what's going to be able to get him on the podium. If Bones can close this gap to be able to get to Goggle Saw, is this what he needs for a podium? He needs to be able to close that gap for sure, but can he be able to do it? That's going to be a big question for him, because he wants to be able to get that podium. And I know after last race, he had the chance to do so, and he was really frustrated with how the driving was from Ditto. So obviously with everything there, that's changed, and he's currently battling for a podium, and he might get P4. And it will definitely help Racing Point and the Constructors, as they had P4 last week of Flurry Fully. Well, some of the future tier 3 races this season, Singapore next, Australia in May, then you have Spain and Hungary, and then yeah, that's what you have. As of right now, that's what it looks like. I do have some news later on today coming out for the server and for the league about F1 2020 and everything else, so expect some news. I will probably be doing that later tonight, though. Not exactly right now. Look at that. Goggle Saw runs to the back of just Dylan Boy and gets them both sideways. They save it.
Synchronized saving going on.
Wow. And look who gets the advantage out of this. Dylan Boy needs to actually stay within 5 seconds now of Chevy Giant. This is going to be for the win. 4.7 seconds. Look at this. And Bones within that 2.7 he needs for at least a podium. Goggle Saw actually helping Bones out right now with this. It's insane how this is helping out another driver from that situation. 4.7 is that gap. Will this be the closest gap for ARL for a win? If I go back to the records here that I have up on my screen on my computer, the closest gap was actually last week in Tier 1 is 0.7 tenths for that win between Felipe and Boker. And it's been the same podium for 2 races in a row between Boker, Felipe, and Rapalucas. So if we see this being a consecutive podium between these 4, Bones, Goggle Saw, Just Dylan Boy, Chevy Giant, is this what we expect for the season? What do we expect? Dylan was sideways off the corner, but right now that gap is close enough for Chevy Giant to have the race win. Lewis and Matrix is also close, but Matrix is around.
This is some crazy race. The amount of crashes that are happening, it's a bit chaotic.
Bones knows a race where he actually took a podium on one of my older leagues from F1 2018. Another chaotic race with a lap car incident, a battle for the race lead. It was with one of Chevy Giant's friends who's actually watching this chat, so this is going to remind him, if Bones gets on the podium, it's going to remind him of being in the same podium with Lord Chevy, well, now it's Lord Trash, but it's Chevy Giant, so we'll have to see what they have to say about that, with those guys being in the same podium, one of Lord Trash's good friends. So that'd be pretty cool for Bones, but that gap right now is not close enough. It's probably not gonna be close enough for a battle for that podium. But we see JB Smoove on those soft tires catching Bones. Is this enough to put JB Smoove up to P4 by chance? So Goggle Saw catching Just Dylan Boy, but Just Dylan Boy is just slightly behind. It's 5.4 that gap for the race win. Just Dylan Boy needs to catch and needs to be able to do what he can in order for him to get this race win.
I think that's the
Yellow
problem.
flag, Matrix is out.
I think that's the main issue with 24% races. The estimate is short and you can get a lot of action out of quite a short race, but sometimes I feel like there's not enough time for like racing battles to develop over the time.
Yeah.
But
I can agree, but look at JB Smoove on Bones. This is for P4 going up the hill. There's contact. They touch. Davis sets the fastest lap. That's an extra point for Toro Rosso. He's currently running down in P15, having a little bit of trouble off the start. And he's on those soft tires. It's not enough to catch Dark Raptor, but hey, he might be enough for an extra point. As we saw with the pole position, it was Just Dylan Boy, I believe, for the extra point. 11 positions gained for Ditto, 9 for Quinn Houff, and 6 for JB Smoove, 3 for Bones. JB Smoove down the inside of Bones. They bang wheels. JB Smoove stays ahead, but they're side by side through turn 2.
whoa, that's a bit wide. Now he's got DRS.
Yeah, it was just Dylan Boy on pole, but now down the inside, Bones on Smoove. There's contact. They're sideways. Bones is just behind, heading into the S's, and it's just not going to be enough for a podium if it's based off of penalties. But Just Dylan Boy needs 7 tenths in this final lap. If he wants to be able to get this race win, he needs to push. Yellow flag somewhere. Aaron Ocon might have been the one who spun. But
Yes,
CJ Pants
he's gone
and
from
Lewis
8th to 9th.
are side by side for P12, that is. Bones gaining on Smoove for P4 into turn 11. Into the braking zone, there's contact, and that goes JB Smoove off the track.
That's going to probably get reviewed, not going to lie.
Was it a bit aggressive? Was it a bit... Oh, Davis is spun. Okay, so that's a lap car. But now, we enter the final lap. That gap is 6 seconds. If Just Dylan Boy wants to win this race, he needs to gain a whole second. He needs to gain a whole second. And then Goggle need to work together, really, here, in order to get this. Because Goggle Saw is that 5-second penalty. JB Smoove gaining on Bones. Now Goggle Saw into turn 1 on Just Dylan Boy. Just Dylan Boy. If he wants this win, if he wants it bad enough, he needs to be able to get to 5 seconds within Chevy Giant. He's currently 6.1, side by side with JB Smoove and Bones. There's some throwing damage from both of them. This is allowing Quinn Houff to catch up. Now, JB Smoove stays ahead on those soft tires, ahead of Bones. The gap for the race win right now, based off of penalties, would be 1.2. this being the second tier 2 or tier 3 race, I apologize for that, would be the closest finish in tier 3, as we do have a yellow flag.
Is it full?
Don't know, but just Dylan Boy's off track. He's running wide.
Questionable track limits. I feel like he's done that every lap. That's very questionable. Yes, it's on
Is it
medium,
gaining him
but
anything? I don't know. That's a good question. Is it gaining him anything? That is a good question to ask, because if it is, that will be definitely reviewed. Now, Chevy Giant heads to the final 2 corners. It's a double kind of kink in that final corner. Chevy Giant has done everything right. As soon as he got the lead, he did it. But he has that 5-second penalty, which will affect him, but it keeps him the win. Chevy Giant takes the checkered flag for the Bahrain Grand Prix, but for second on track, Goggle Saw is not going to get P2. Just Dylan Boy is ahead, and Bones and Quinn Half side by side to the final corner to the straight. Quinn Half will get P5. Just by a 10th. And Ditto, after a penalty last week, is 7th.
that's pretty impressive. Not gonna lie.
2.5 seconds like after the race win. Aaron Ocon will take P9 here in Bahrain. Davis and Fire King, a little bit of Torosso tactics. Fire King does come across the line, P10. And Hissy stays ahead of Lewis for non-points positions. Now, let's invite the race winners and the podium. Well, I've invited the podium now, but what a race that was. That was a great battle for the race win. Non-stop, back and forth. Just a short 25% race that provided some great racing. Now, we've got the post-race interviews. Goggle Saw joins us. Now, look at the podium. Chevy Giant takes the race win. Welcome, Goggle Saw. And we're just waiting for the other drivers to join us for the post-race interviews. We have Dylan Boy, who's joined us now. Came P2. And let's just screenshot the results here quickly. Welcome, you guys. Interesting race from you guys. I'm just waiting for the race winner, Chevy Giant, to join. Hopefully he does get his connection sorted with joining the party. I know he had an issue with that last week, but I think he was able to get an interview. Dylan, are you okay if I start with you?
Go ahead.
Well, not enough off of penalties. You maybe would have got it, looked like, for a little while, but you just struggled on the later part of the stint, the mediums, and you weren't able to take the race win based off of that. But oh yeah, make sure your audio is included. You weren't able to take the race win off of it, but you were able to keep P2 on track over Goggle Saw. What was that battle like, and what was that train like at the start of the race too?
The train I thought was amazing. It's all just racing. I don't know what Goggle did at the end. All I know is that I just got rammed into the back of, which caused us both to spin and lose what we had on Chevy. Because I knew if that didn't happen, we were still with Chevy. We were both in play for DRS to be able to pull back on him. I have a clip recorded of it, and then I also struggled because I got damage from my teammate whenever it was when he had Raptor had hit Chevy going into 1. He came back on track, and I ran into the back of him and gave me yellow damage on both sides.
If I'm correct, after this race, you should be leading the championship standings. How do you feel as a favorite for the Tier 3 championship this early in?
I feel pretty good about it. If stuff like that, I mean, just unlucky stuff just doesn't happen like how it did today. I probably could have kept. I think me and Goggle could have stayed with Chevy if all the stuff between us didn't happen, but it's whatever. It's racing.
F1 driver, are you still here? Do you have any questions for
Yeah, I think I have
Dylan Boy?
a question. Congratulations on the podium.
Thank
would
you.
I know the track limits are on medium, obviously, and you can exploit them quite a bit. But do you think fellow competitors will question your track limits usage? Because I've seen you using the exit on the exit curb on turn 10 quite a lot. Do you think that will
That was just
affect
me not
anything?
being able to. That was just me not being able to kind of keep it there. Especially with that damage at the end, it was kind of hard for me to stay on track.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yep. I was just curious. All right, congratulations on your second place finish. I'm gonna invite Chevy Giant to the party right now. This is
Thank you.
Now I'm gonna try to get Chevy Giant here again, like I said, and get him to join the party so he can get a post-race interview. I'll go saw after him. He'll be next. Hopefully he is able to join. But I'll go to you right now. Actually, oh no, man, he just joined. I'll get him first. I'm just waiting for him to connect first. All right, Chevy Giant is connected. Chevy Giant, make sure you include your audio. By the way, congratulations on the win. How was that race from your perspective? Because you had the 5-second penalty you had, and you had to hold off just Dylan Boy. Were you kind of blessed whenever the stuff happened with Dylan and Gogglesaw? When they got sideways and spun it, almost? Hello?
Having some technical difficulties here.
Yeah. Well... Sure. Hello? Alright, well, we'll figure that out pretty soon, I guess. Well,
Maybe not then.
Either way, yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean, he left the party, but we'll figure that out of what happened. Anyways, Goggle saw it to you now. Make sure your audio is included. P3, you had the 5-second penalty.
Yeah.
How do you look at your race and your first race into this league?
Not bad. Last time I raced was like mid F1 2018, so I'm quite happy with the result, but I feel like there was a bit of unfairness with the guy who was ahead, just Dylan Boy, but the stewards will take that out, but pleased for a podium.
Yeah, if your first start, and I've got to ask you, F1 2018, start of mid F1 2018, was that NAOR that you raced in then, I'm guessing? You
yeah,
remember NAOR?
around that time.
Okay, then yeah, I remember you from NAOR. That's where I remember you. I wasn't too sure.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, got you from there. But you know, congrats on the P3 again.
Thank you.
The next track is Singapore. How do you feel about that race into next week?
Oh no.
Everyone hates
I don't
Singapore.
like that track as much as other ones, but well, yeah, everyone hates Singapore. But I'll try my best, and hopefully we can try and get a result.
Yeah. Well, you got a full-time seat now earlier this week with the Mercedes team. How do you look forward to being a full-time driver now on this league and what you've seen from just Tier 3 today with you driving the way you did?
I think it's going to be quite a close championship between me, Chevy, and just Dylan Boy. But my teammate, he did an alright race today, best of the situation, and a lot of drivers in this probably have good potential. I'm going to watch it back after and look out for who might be next.
F1 driver, do you have any questions for Gagglesaw? I almost forgot your name. That's bad.
Don't think so. No, I think you've said all the questions I basically wanted to ask.
Yeah, I think that's really all you have. Congratulations on the P3 again.
Okay, thank you.
It's short of P2 in the win, but you know, 5 seconds definitely didn't help either. You know that you had. Oh, congratulations on P3, and you're free to go if you want.
Thank you.
So now, with this being the Tier 3 race today, what do you think of it, F1 driver? And hopefully everyone's able to hear you. I don't know if you, can hear yourself through the thing.
I can hear myself on the stream.
Okay, alright, good.
Yeah, I think
Let's make sure.
that was a very tight race near the front. Obviously, there was a bit of controversy with the crash between Justin Boy and Goggle. But overall, I think it was quite a good race for a 25% race. That's probably some very good action that I've seen on track. Is it the best of this season? Probably not. We'll probably see a lot better in future races, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, if you could fix your static mix so I could actually, like, concentrate while I'm talking. No, the way I kind of found this race, I found it as really dull race after the pit stops. It was not even interesting. And how Bones was not able to get the undercut in those guys really confuses me. Whether he just wasn't fast when he started on those mediums, or that undercut was just not even good at all. Because if anything, the overcut actually beat him today, which is really confusing, because in a normal 50% race or a league race, that undercut at Bahrain would usually beat the guy with the overcut. So I'm really confused on why that happened. That usually shouldn't happen. And I know from other Bahrain races, the way it goes, that shouldn't be happening. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, oh, the ban this ban. No, I'm not saying that, no. But I'm just saying, with the undercut, you'd expect it to work better. So that's just all I gotta think about it. That's just all I gotta complain about it or say anything about it. That's really about it. But besides that, like I said, the race was decent. It was pretty dull after the pit stops. And yeah, I didn't really find it too interesting after the pit stops. But besides that, we're on to Singapore, and hopefully that maybe gets a better one. Not the most interesting of tracks, but hopefully we get a lot of chaos there. Hopefully, you know, we'll see how that goes on Singapore. But anyway, tier 2 and tier 1 is both tomorrow. What do you look forward to the most tomorrow, F1 driver?
Well, obviously the drivers are a lot faster. No offense, there's a lot of good talent in tier 3 as well, but obviously the quality maybe isn't as up to par as what tier 2 is, obviously. But yeah, I think with the quicker drivers, it's going to cause more, well, I wouldn't say incidents, but a lot more battles in between the mix, and also there'll probably be a better attendance as well, so a lot more drivers thrown into the mix as well.
Yeah, that's something we should probably be able to see in the next race in Singapore, where maybe better kind of closer field in tier 3, and then also tier 2 tomorrow, like you said. We should be able to see better quality and definitely better quantity too. I didn't really see a lot of guys compared to last week really show up till later in the lobby. I do expect full grids, because I mean we have a total like 29 30 tier 3 drivers anyway, so that's just the thing. I do expect more quantity because of how many drivers we have. We only had like half today, so that's why I find it kind of concerning at the same time. But in the end of the day, it is what it is. And I know my commentating today, as some of you guys could tell, it wasn't even the best at all. It wasn't that good at all. I'll be honest, I didn't really find it good. I don't know about you, anyone else in the chat who thought about it, but
I think it was just a difficult race to commentate in general, to be honest.
Yeah, hopefully tier 2 and tier 1 is better tomorrow. The thing is, usually I'm used to commentating 2 league races or on this week, and wasn't able to do that this week. I only was able to do a qualifying session, that's it. So that's why I kind of say I'm not always prepared to commentate the tier 3 races. And plus, I don't have GSR later today, which I'd be ready for. So, I mean, tomorrow my commentary should be better, and hopefully everything else is better for tier 2. And hopefully that stuff is sorted. If you have Minecraft, hopefully you join us in the Minecraft world. I'll be on there getting some news out in my house, or a notice sign, something like that, along the lines of that. Anything that happens. So, yeah, we had the Minecraft world there, and, you know, hopefully everything is good with that, and hopefully people enjoy it. Then you have GSR tomorrow. We have Partner League at Spain for tier 1, 3:45 p.m. Eastern, 8:45 p.m. UK, and then LDRL is later on this next week for their new season. Well, you have tier 2 tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK in Bahrain, and then you have the same time for Sunday for tier 1. Hopefully I'm more energetic. I felt like my voice was just dying half the time. I don't know why that was. But regardless, I felt like this was a decent race to watch. I felt like it was a decent race to commentate, but something just felt different about it. I don't know. For me, I don't know. It just felt weird. But either way, hopefully I do get commentating fixed before tomorrow, and hopefully I'm more energetic, because I don't know why I was like that. That's just weird. It's not normal. So Polo will be joining me tomorrow, and we'll be seeing him in the commentary booth alongside me, and then Milo for tier 1. anything else you want to say, F1 driver, before we end the stream? Anything else you want to add in?
Not particularly, no. Not really.
There is something I want to add in, actually, before you continue. Something that we saw, I don't know if it was today, if it was today at all. I don't know if anyone has any clips or anything to prove any of it. I don't know, but I'm not focused about it as of right now. But retaliation from last week, tier 1, tier 3, it happened, and it's over. But the thing is, retaliation is not permitted. Retaliation is not, promoted. It's not promoted in the league, and I'm not saying it's allowed at all, and it's not. So anyone who retaliates, we're not gonna accept it. And F1 driver, you can back me up as tier 3 head, or as you being tier 3 head admin. That last week in tier 1, since you were tier 1 head admin and tier 3 head admin too, for the 2 tiers, there was retaliation, and it shouldn't be allowed.
It's been a bit unacceptable recently. I know it's just the start of the season. There's a lot of adrenaline going, try and get a good start of the season, but there's no need to deliberately say to someone after the race, I'm going to take you out next race or something, or going to block you and whatever. Just stop. It's a game at the end of the day. Just, if you get a bad race, just accept it and move on. There's always another weekend.
That is true, and I've got to say, if anyone thinks like, oh yeah, the retaliation, they hit my car, so I'm gonna hit it back. No, you record a clip and you simply send it in. That's the way it goes, and that's what happens. So end of the discussion, and end of that, and hopefully, if you don't know how to use the ticket system, the new ticket system for the league, contact me or F1 driver in a DM. F1 driver, I'm sure you know how to use it, so you can help anyone else. I'm sure you can. So
I think contact any admin, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we all know it. We all know how to use it. It's just you do plus ticket open, and then the tier, and then lap, and then the track and ARL. That's simple as that. And then you have a private there's a private chat, and then you send in the clip. That's as simple as that, and it should be over once you send in the clip, and you get your side to say what you thought of the incident and what you think. So that's basically how that goes, and that's not any different than just sending in your clip originally. So hopefully people understand that this week compared to last week, because not many people understood it as much. So hopefully that's changed. Either way, I think it's time to end the stream. It's getting pretty late for me. Well, not really late, but pretty late. As in before dinner, before I gotta go eat. So it's me and F1 driver who commentated today. Polo and me tomorrow for Bahrain tier 2. Expect another good race, and hopefully we have another good one on our hands, just like today. We will see you tomorrow for tier 2 at Bahrain. 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK. We'll see you then, and you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching.